Walk through any neighborhood right now, and you'll spot them immediately. Fences that looked like a great idea when they went up. Fences that cost serious money and are already causing serious problems. I've spent over a decade in landscaping and property design, and the number of calls I get from homeowners asking, "How do I fix this fence?" genuinely surprises people. They think a fence is a fence. Pour some concrete, put up some posts, hang some panels, and you're done. But that's exactly where most people go wrong. Today, I'm counting down the 10 fence ideas that will absolutely ruin your yard in 2026. Some of them are trendy right now. Some of them are being pushed by contractors who should know better. And some of them are so common, I'd bet there's already one within 5 houses of where you're sitting right now. We're going from 10 down to 1, and the further down we go, the worse it gets. You'll want to stay for number 1 because that's the one destroying property values across entire neighborhoods. Number 10. Solid wooden fences without proper drainage. Number 10. Solid wooden fences built without any drainage consideration. Here's the thing about wooden fences that nobody explains before they take your money. Wood touches ground. Ground has water, water stays trapped, wood rots. It sounds simple because it is, but most homeowners don't think about water management when they're planning a fence. They just see a nice-looking solid panel that creates privacy and blocks the view. What they don't see is what happens underground and on the backside where moisture gets trapped against the wood year-round. Within 3 to 5 years, the bottom 12 inches of those posts are compromised. The wood goes soft. Insects move in. Fungus establishes. And before you know it, that solid fence that was supposed to last 15 years is leaning, cracking, and falling over. I worked on a property where the homeowner had invested in what they thought was premium cedar fencing. Beautiful material, proper installation at the time. But the contractor didn't add gravel at the base or create any separation between the wood and the soil. By year 4, the fence was visibly deteriorating. The posts were soft. Wind knocked over 2 sections in a light storm. Fixing it cost more than the original installation. Here's what actually works. First, never bury wood directly in soil. Create a gravel strip at the base, at least 6 inches wide, that lets water drain and air circulate. Second, use metal post sleeves or concrete footings that lift the wooden posts 2 to 3 inches above ground level. Third, install a gravel or permeable surface at the fence line, not soil. This single step extends fence life by decades. Your fence becomes a feature that actually holds up instead of a slowly rotting problem you're ignoring. Number 9. Mismatched fencing materials and styles. Number 9. Mixing multiple fence styles and materials across the same property. This one is everywhere, and it drives me crazy because it's completely avoidable. Here's how it usually starts. You build a fence on one side of the property. It looks great. 5 years later, that fence needs maintenance or replacement. You hire someone new. Different material, different height, different style. Suddenly, you're walking around your property, and it feels like 4 different people designed for different spaces. A vinyl fence on the front, wood on the side, chain link along the driveway, ornamental metal in the back. Each one on its own might be acceptable. A mismatched fence is a visual signal that says, whatever's happening with this property is reactive, not planned. I've seen comparable properties on the same street, one with a consistent fence treatment around the entire perimeter, one with mixed materials and styles. The consistent one sold faster and for more money. Same yard, same neighborhood, same condition. The fence made the difference. Here's the fix. Pick one material, one height, one style. Commit to it around your entire property boundary. If you need to replace sections over time, match what's there. If you're starting fresh, choose based on your home's style and your climate. Mediterranean villa gets metalwork. Modern house gets clean board fence or composite. Cottage gets picket. Keep it consistent, and your whole property reads as intentional and well-maintained. Number 8. Undersized or oversized fence posts. Number 8. Fence posts that are the wrong size for the material and conditions. Most homeowners have no idea that posts have specifications. They think a post is a post. You put it in the ground, it holds the fence up. That's not how it works. Post size needs to match panel weight, wind load, soil conditions, and climate. Install posts that are too light and they flex, bend, and fail under pressure. Install posts that are too heavy and you've wasted money on overkill. But more importantly, Installation depth matters enormously. A standard rule is that 1/3 of the post length goes in the ground. So a 6-foot fence uses 9-foot posts. But that rule doesn't account for soil quality. In sandy soil, you need deeper clay, you need different concrete placement. Most contractors just follow the standard without thinking about site-specific conditions. I've seen new fences lean within one season because posts were too light or set too shallow for the soil type. Then, in freeze-thaw cycles, frost heaves push posts upward, tilting the entire fence. By spring, it's visibly out of plumb. By next winter, it's compromised. Here's what actually holds. Heavy-duty posts for any fence, 6 feet or taller. Posts at least 4x4 for wood, 2.5-inch minimum diameter for metal. Concrete footings minimum 30 inches deep in freeze-thaw climates, 24 inches in mild climates. Concrete should extend at least 6 inches above ground to prevent water pooling at the base. These specifications cost almost nothing extra at installation, but add years to fence life. Skip them, and you're looking at replacement or major repair within 5 to 8 years. Number 7. Vinyl fencing in the wrong climate. Number 7. Installing vinyl fencing in climates where it simply doesn't work. Vinyl has an amazing sales pitch. No maintenance, no painting, no rot. Lasts forever. The samples in the showroom look incredible. And for maybe the first 3 to 5 years, it actually delivers on some of that promise. Then reality hits. Vinyl is plastic. Plastic expands in heat and contracts in cold. In freeze-thaw climates, that constant expansion and contraction makes joints separate, panels crack, and the whole fence becomes loose and rattles. In intense summer heat, vinyl expands so much that panels bow outward. In cold winters, it contracts and pulls away from posts. Nothing catastrophic the first winter, but over multiple cycles, the system fails. Cheap vinyl fades within 2 to 3 years. That white fence becomes dingy gray. That color-matched fence looks like it's from a different decade. Quality vinyl costs significantly more and holds color better. But even premium vinyl has this life cycle. I worked on a property where the owner had invested in high-end vinyl fencing, thinking they'd never deal with it again. 8 years later, in a climate with significant freeze-thaw, the panels were separating from the posts. Water was getting behind them. The whole system was compromised. The fence looked terrible, and the cost to fix it nearly equaled the cost to replace it with a material suited to the climate. Here's what actually works. In temperate climates with minimal freeze-thaw vinyl can be solid. In freeze-thaw climates, choose wood or metal. In hot, dry climates, composite materials actually outperform vinyl. Match the material to the climate, and the fence will actually hold up. Number 6. CHAI, unlinked fences with no screening. Number 6. Bare chain link fencing that serves no aesthetic purpose. I understand chain link's appeal. It's affordable. It's durable. It does its job of containing animals and defining boundaries. The problem is, that's all it does. A bare chain link fence is purely functional. It doesn't add anything to your property. It doesn't create privacy. It doesn't frame the garden. It doesn't contribute to curb appeal. It just sits there looking utilitarian. From a resale perspective, bare chain link actively suppresses property value. Buyers see a chain link fence and they see expense. They see replacing it. They see a price reduction negotiation. Even when chain link is in good condition, buyers factor in the cost to upgrade. I've watched chain link become a negotiating point on properties where everything else was perfect. A 6-foot chain link fence on 2 sides of a property. Buyer used that to knock $8,000 to $12,000 off the asking price. That's 10 times what screening would have cost. Here's the simple fix. If you have chain link that you need to keep for functional reasons, screen it. Plant fast-growing climbing vines. Clematis, climbing hydrangea, or ivy establishes quickly and covers the chain link within 2 to 3 years. Add a living screen. Dense evergreen shrubs planted 3 feet in front of the fence create privacy and hide the chain link completely. Both options cost far less than replacing with solid fencing, but add enormous value and aesthetic appeal. Number 5. Fence height violations and neighbor disputes. Number 5. Installing a fence that's taller than local regulations allow. This one creates problems beyond your property. Most municipalities have specific regulations about fence height, usually 6 feet in residential areas, sometimes less. But regulations vary by location and by setback from the street. Many homeowners don't bother checking before they build. They just want privacy, so they go tall. Then the city shows up, or the neighbor complains. And now you're in a situation where you either modify the fence or face fines. I've seen homeowners forced to remove top sections of otherwise solid fences because they exceeded height restrictions. That's money wasted, and the problem it was supposed to solve is still there. Beyond code violations, there's the neighbor relationship issue. A fence that blocks someone's view or casts significant shadow can damage neighborhood relationships. And damaged neighbor relationships affect resale value in ways that aren't obvious until you're trying to sell. Buyers always talk to neighbors. If neighbors resent your fence, that sentiment comes up. Always check local regulations before building. Call your city. Understand setback requirements, height limits, and material restrictions. These conversations take 20 minutes and save thousands in potential problems. Number 4. Decorative fencing that can't handle weather. Number 4. Ornamental fencing materials chosen for looks without considering durability. Decorative metal fencing looks beautiful. Ornamental aluminum railings look clean and modern. Fancy composite railings look premium. The problem is, many of these materials weren't engineered for the full cycle of weather stress that a property boundary experiences. Metal ornamental fencing rusts faster than you'd expect. Composite railings fade unevenly. Aluminum corrodes where it meets the ground. These aren't products built for neglect. They need regular maintenance that most homeowners don't do. Within 5 to 10 years, the fence that looked expensive and beautiful looks cheap and corroded. I worked on a property where the owner had invested in ornamental metal fencing around the front of the property. Beautiful wrought iron style. It looked incredible for about 4 years. Then rust started appearing at the connection points. The protective coating had failed and the metal underneath was oxidizing. By year 8, the fence looked genuinely terrible. Repainting helped temporarily, but the rust continued. The fence needed replacement. Here's what actually works. Choose materials with proven durability records. Pressure-treated wood, quality cedar, hot-dipped galvanized steel, or powder-coated aluminum rated for your climate. Yes, these cost more upfront, but they hold up. They don't require constant maintenance. They look good for 15 to 20 years instead of 5. Pay for durability at the start, and you won't be replacing it in a decade. Number 3. Fence built without proper foundations. Number 3. Fence posts installed without proper concrete footings or with inadequate depth. This is invisible until it fails, which is why it makes my top 3 list. Most homeowners never know their fence has a foundation problem until something goes visibly wrong. A post starts leaning, a section shifts in a storm. Water starts pooling at the base. By then, the damage has been happening for months or years. Proper concrete footings are non-negotiable. The concrete should extend at least 30 inches below grade in freestyle climates. It should be 24 inches minimum in mild climates. It should come up at least 6 inches above ground. It should be sloped away from the post to prevent water pooling. Most contractors skip these details to save time and money. They go shallow on the concrete. They don't slope it. They don't leave adequate airspace above ground. Within 3 to 5 seasons, frost, heave, or water damage compromises the installation. I've seen beautiful fences fail within years because the foundation work was rushed. Here's what to demand from any contractor. Concrete footings, minimum 30 inches deep. Posts set at least 2 inches above grade with concrete sloped away. Gravel base at least 6 inches below the concrete for drainage. These aren't upgrades, they're baseline requirements. Any contractor who won't commit to this isn't building a fence. They're building a temporary structure disguised as permanent. Number 2. Fencing that blocks views from your house. Number 2. Installing a fence that actually reduces your property's visual appeal from inside the house. This one surprises people because we usually think about fences from outside, from the street, or from neighbors' perspectives. But here's the reality. The view from inside your house, particularly from the main living spaces, affects how you feel about your property every single day. A fence that blocks all views and creates a boxed-in feeling makes your outdoor space feel smaller and less appealing. If that fence is visible from your kitchen window or main living room, it's the first thing you see when you look outside. And if it's ugly or poorly maintained, that affects your mood. From a resale perspective, a fence that makes views feel cramped and enclosed is a liability. Buyers walk through the space and feel confined. The outdoor area reads as small and awkward. Even if the fence is perfectly maintained, if it creates an enclosed feeling rather than a defined space. Buyers don't connect with the property. Here's the smart approach. Before building or installing any fence, stand at your main interior windows. Kitchen, main living room, bedroom. Look at what the fence will frame. Will it block light? Will it create an enclosed feeling? Or can you design it in a way that it frames views rather than blocks them? A fence doesn't have to be solid. Decorative spacing, climbing vines, mixed solid and open sections all create definition without total enclosure. Design the fence for how it looks from inside your house as well as from outside. Number 1. Fencing that isn't maintained. Number 1. Installing any fence and then never maintaining it. This is the single biggest regret I see with fencing, and it's completely avoidable. A fence is a living thing in the sense that it responds to whether it needs care. Would need sealing or staining every 2 to 3 years. Metal needs inspection for rust. Vinyl needs occasional cleaning. Post footings need to stay clear of debris and water. Hinges and gates need lubrication. But most homeowners install a fence and then forget about it. Within 3 to 5 years, a perfectly good fence starts looking terrible because it's been neglected. Stain fades, wood grays out. Metal rusts, gates stop closing properly, and once neglect starts, it accelerates. The fence that could have been maintained with small, regular effort now needs serious work or replacement. I've seen beautiful fences completely ruined in 10 years because of simple neglect. The cost to restore them nearly equaled the cost to replace them completely. Here's what actually works. Create a maintenance schedule. Every spring, inspect posts and footings. Every other year. Reseal wood or repaint metal. Clean vinyl annually. Lubricate gates and hardware twice a year. These small efforts take a few hours annually, but add 10 years to your fence's life. Your fence becomes a feature that actually holds up instead of a slowly deteriorating eyesore. So there you have it. 10 fence ideas that will ruin your yard in 2026 if you've already got 1 or 2 of these problems.